Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right in today because, well, we're going to pull back the curtain on something literally all of us interact with, but kind of fundamentally misunderstand. We're looking at what actually happens behind your screen when you type a message to an AI. I mean, it feels totally magical, right? You ask a question and boom, a fluent, helpful, maybe even funny response comes right back at you. But today we are unpacking the illusion of AI understanding. We're going to break down the nuts and bolts of this modern marvel and see it for what it truly is.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really get a grip on how this works, we're going to track just one super practical example today. Picture this. You're totally new to AI. You've just had an absolutely exhausting, pull-your-hair-out, terrible day at work or school. You open up a chatbot and you just pour your heart out. You type, "I had such a frustrating day today, I just need someone to give me some advice." You know, you're looking for a connection, a sounding board, maybe just a tiny bit of comfort. You type out this deeply personal, emotionally charged sentence, and you hit send.
Now, the exact second you hit send, we hit a pretty profound question. Does the AI actually care? Think about it. You're sitting there with a heavy heart, genuinely feeling the real weight of that frustrating day. Your input is deeply, deeply felt. But what about the machine on the other end? Is there an empathetic listener hiding inside that text box, nodding along, actually feeling sorry for you? It creates this absolutely fascinating tension between our lived human reality and the cold digital reality of the machine.
To answer that, we really have to look at a stark contrast. On one side, we have the human mind, you and I. We have a biological brain. When you have a bad day, you literally feel it physically, right? You have an entire lifetime of lived experience to draw from to know exactly what a bad day actually means. But on the flip side, we have artificial intelligence, which operates entirely, and I mean entirely, on statistical probability. The AI doesn't understand your bad day because it completely lacks a biological brain, zero lived experience. It's never had a boss yell at it. It's never been stuck in gridlock traffic, and it has never felt tired. It only has math.
And that brings us to what we actually mean by math here. In this context, statistical probability simply means predicting the most likely next word, rather than, grasping the actual underlying truth of a concept. So when you tell the AI you had a frustrating day, it isn't grasping the human truth of frustration. Instead, it's looking at the exact words you typed and calculating. It's asking itself, based on the billions of pages of text I was trained on, what is the most mathematically probable word that should come next? It is a highly sophisticated prediction engine, not an empathetic friend.
But because it is such a wildly good prediction engine, it spits out a response like this. "I'm so sorry to hear you had a bad day. That sounds really difficult." I mean, when you read that, it sounds incredibly human, doesn't it? It sounds exactly like someone offering genuine comfort. It successfully predicts the precise words a compassionate person would use. But, linking back to what we just talked about, we know it arrived at this beautiful, empathetic-sounding sentence entirely through statistics. So let's take this a step further. When a real human friend says, "I'm so sorry," they're experiencing subjective feelings. They feel genuine empathy for your situation. The AI, though, it's using mimicked emotional language. It is strictly simulating empathy based purely on its training data. The model can simulate empathy. It can simulate frustration, but it possesses absolutely zero subjective feelings. It mimics emotional language to a T, but it never ever experiences the sentiments it's describing to you. That comfort, it's completely an illusion.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it strips away the magic entirely. Let's define what the AI actually is. It's a complex mathematical function, meaning it is a system completely devoid of self-awareness. It's not a conscious being, no inner life whatsoever. It doesn't hold beliefs, and it certainly doesn't have desires. Actually, think of it this way. It only truly exists in the brief computational moments it spends processing your prompts. Before you hit send, the AI wasn't just sitting there, waiting for you, pondering its own existence. It's literally just lines of code waiting to be activated.
Let's map this out chronologically, just to see how totally trapped in the present moment the AI is. Step 1, you open the chat. Step 2, you type in your prompt about your frustrating day, and the AI springs into action, running the statistics to answer you. Step 3, you read it, feel a tiny bit better, and you close the window. And step 4, the AI immediately forgets everything, the whole shebang. Unless you're using specialized database tools, the exact second that session ends, your conversation just vanishes into the digital ether.
Let's look at why that amnesia matters so much by comparing human and AI memory. Human memory, right? It allows for a continuous relationship. If you tell your best friend you had a bad day on Tuesday and you grab coffee with them on Thursday, they're going to ask you how you're doing. The relationship builds. But for an AI, its memory is a completely blank slate after every single session ends. It can't learn from your past interactions outside of that immediate little chat window. You are starting from absolute zero every single time you open a new chat. It doesn't know you, and it has no memory of comforting you yesterday.
So the crucial point is understanding how an AI actually builds its sentences. Basically, the AI maps patterns between symbols. To an AI, the word frustrating isn't a feeling, it's just a symbol, a raw data point. Then it calculates linguistic sequences. It figures out that the symbol sorry very often follows the symbol frustrating. And finally, it satisfies learned mathematical patterns. It is manipulating language, not ideas. It's basically an incredibly fast, highly complex puzzle solver, snapping pieces together based on the rules it learned during training, completely blind to the actual picture the puzzle forms.
Which brings us to the core realization of this entire explainer. I really want this to sink in. It calculates patterns. It doesn't think. It doesn't think about the world, it doesn't think about your rough day, and it certainly doesn't think about the actual advice it's giving you. Once we manage to shatter that illusion of machine comprehension, we can actually start using these tools for what they are, incredibly powerful calculators of language, rather than, substitute human beings.
To firmly cement our bad day example, it all boils down to this harsh reality. Artificial intelligence does not understand human language because it manipulates words in a statistical manner without understanding the ideas behind the words. That right there is the definitive takeaway. It expertly manipulated the words to give you some pretty great advice, but it never, not even for a fraction of a second, understood the idea of your struggle.
And that leaves us with a pretty critical thought to ponder. If AI only calculates words without understanding the actual ideas behind them, how much trust should we put in its answers? If it fundamentally doesn't know what it's saying, should we really be taking its advice on our hardest days, our biggest decisions, or our critical work? It's a massive question, and it's one we're all going to have to navigate as we rely more and more on these unthinking, yet incredibly articulate tools. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.